Welcome back to Work on a Yacht, and this week I'm going to be talking about the training record book. This one's mine, and this thing is really important, especially if you want to get your Officer of the Watch 3000 qualification. That's the one you'll need in order to work as a deck officer on a yacht between 500 gross tons and 3000 gross tons. In terms of length, that's between about 50 metres and 90 metres in length. Even if you don't want to work as a deck officer, maybe you want to work on the interior, in the galley, or in the engineering department, this book could still be of use to you because the first section of it leads to something called the Yacht Rating Certificate. It's a tough job market out there at the moment, and having this one on your CV could make all the difference. So stick around to find out what the training record book is, how to fill it out, and also to hear some of the mistakes I've made along the way so that you don't make them yourself. You'll want to start by downloading a copy of your very own training record book from the link in the description below. So head there and scroll to the document, Yacht Training Record Book. There it is, should download for you straight away. First thing you'll notice is that this thing's pretty old school. Just have a look, the bottom left corner of the first page, you'll see there, revision 2 and then the date, 30th of June 2004. Surely there's been a new version put out since then, but no, this is the correct one. Other things to note on that first page are the fact that this training record book is for yacht ratings and then also the officer in charge of a navigational watch. That's OOW, yachts less than 3,000 gross tons. Scroll down to the next page and we see once more important notice to candidates. This training record book is part of the qualification requirements for Officer of the Watch Yachts Certificates, OOW. When fully completed, it must be presented to the examiner at the UK Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, MCA, when you attend to sit your oral examination. In addition, you must also prove that you have completed this training record book before you even get to the exam. In order to take the exam, you must first apply for a notice of eligibility. To get that, you will need to demonstrate that you have indeed filled out this book. At the moment, that requires you to scan in every page and send it over to them. Skip ahead to page 24 and you'll see that from there until pretty much the end, this book mainly consists of a list of tasks. The idea is that you perform the task, it is witnessed by an officer, and said officer dates, signs and writes the name of the ship on which the task was completed. Then you move on to the next task. Simple as that. Despite its simplicity, there are of course some pitfalls that you could fall into when completing this thing. So let's now skip back to the instructions just to make sure you fully understand how this thing needs to be completed, and that way you can complete it in the quickest possible time and get yourself moving up the ranks. The beauty of this is that you don't even have to have a job to get started. Best thing I can recommend is that you download it. I hope you've done that already. Then print it out. Remember what I said, this thing is old school, you can't do it electronically. It's got to be printed out and all of those signatures have got to be original. I chose to put mine in a very fetching orange folder. Maybe you'll choose a different colour. Whatever the case, don't wait for the chief officer to come and ask you if you've started your training record book. Don't wait until you've been on yachts for 3 years to think, oh, I should probably start that. Do it now, before you've even left the comfort of your own home. As you can see, I'm not on a yacht, I'm actually still in a house because I was granted an extra week's leave. Woohoo! I've had to turn the place upside down to make room to make this video. Hopefully this is going to work out and you're going to learn something. So, page 5, personal details. Stick a photo in there, full name, male or female, address, and if you've got a seaman's discharge book, you can fill that information right there. Don't forget to sign it and leave that training record book date of issue until you first join your yacht, because of course you're not going to be signing any of the things in it until you've got a job. Moving along now, page 6, you've got an introduction. That tells you again that if you want to do that Officer of the Watch 3000 qualification, you've got to have this thing. There is a way that you don't have to have this thing. That is by getting 36 months of sea service. Not to be confused with 36 months of sign-on time. No, 36 months worth of days at sea. That's about 1,095 days at sea. If you manage to get 1,095 days at sea whilst working on a yacht, congratulations. That is a feat in itself. But what's also a feat in itself is to work on a yacht for that long without filling out this book. Let's move on down now. Page 7, guidance for the candidate. I'll leave you to read that. List of requirements on pages 8 and 9. This is handy. Again, some more things that you can probably fill out here. You want to put the details of your certificates for your STCW courses. Further on down, you've got a list of many of the other Officer of the Watch courses. You can see again there, third column from the bottom, that in order to take the oral exam leading to this Officer of the Watch qualification, you need to present this training record book to the MCA examiner. Page 10, and we've got some guidance for the master and duly authorised officers. Remember, they've got to sign it. They need to know how this thing works. Page 12, persons authorised to make entries in this training record book. Very important. Remember, you're going to have officers signing each of the tasks. If you get an officer to sign a task, make sure that you also get them to include their details on page 12. They only need to do it once, but this is important because if they don't include their details there, all you've got is a scribble next to a task. MCA wants to be able to see whose scribble that was, find out their name, their position on board, and most importantly, the details of the COC that they held. Without a COC, they're not actually authorised to sign the book. On down now to page 13, service record. You can fill this out as soon as you get that first job. You put the name of the yacht, you'll put where you joined, so the port where you joined, and the date that you joined. Then you can put the details of when you were discharged. That might be when you leave permanently, but also when you go away on leave. I've done a video about filling out your testimonials and making sure you're on top of your sea time verification. The dates in your discharge book should match the dates here. Everything should match up. The testimonials, the discharge book, the service record book. If it all matches up, everybody's happy. You've also got a space there to put yacht details, type, length. On to page 14, sea service record. This is really just for your benefit. No one's actually going to tot your days up here. Instead, they're going to use your testimonials. But this just makes it easy for you to see how many days at sea you've got. Remember, those days at sea are important. You need at least 250 actual days at sea in order to get this Officer of the Watch 3000 qualification. Another important thing that I've managed to miss out is that as of page 12, you'll see that we've got a space, name of candidate, at the top of each page. That's right, folks, you need to write your name on every single page. So again, that's something you can do before you've even got a job. Just get it done. Page 15, section 9, master's inspection of this training record book. This is just so that the master can keep a track of where you're at. Just hand it to them periodically, every 3 months, every 6 months. Just gives them a chance to see what you've been up to write a few comments. Just makes the training record book look a little bit more lived in, as if someone's actually been following progress along the way. Didn't say at the beginning that this thing should take no less than 12 months to complete. So if you were handing it to the master every 3 months, you'd have 4 entries in here at least. Then we'll move on to page 16, testimonial. Again, I've spoken about testimonials in that sea service verification video. Very important. On page 17, you've got an example testimonial, a pro forma. These are all very well and good, these particular testimonials. I've used them a couple of times, but I wouldn't actually recommend them. Remember that at the end of the day, either the PYA or Nautilus needs to verify your sea time. They have their own testimonial pro forma. It's a bit more detailed than this. It includes 2 things in particular which you want to make a record of. One is shipyard service and one is standby service. In total, you need 365 sea days, but only 250 of them actually need to be days at sea. The other 115 can be made up of shipyard time, up to 90 days, and standby time. This testimonial doesn't have anywhere to write that information on, so if you use these testimonials, you won't get those days. So, much better, sign up with the PYA or Nautilus. The choice is yours. Use their testimonials. Move on down, page 18, Familiarization Training Records. This is really handy whether you're deck officer, engineer, the interior or in the galley, because this gives you a bit of an idea about some of the things you're going to be familiarized on when you first join a yacht. If you do not get familiarized with the stuff written on this page when you first join a yacht, something's not right. You should have a deck officer who takes you around and shows you all of this stuff. If you don't get shown this stuff, ask. Then on page 19, you have a tick box basically just so that the officer who familiarized you can check off to say, yeah, I did that, and that. You'll need to fill out a familiarization training sheet for every yacht that you work on. Remember that this training record book is not just specific to one yacht. You can fill it out across a number of different yachts. In fact, that's recommended. It shows the MCA examiner that you've got a range of different experience, maybe on different size yachts, maybe on sail, maybe on motor. Pages 20 and 21. Same again. You've got to have these for every single yacht that you worked on if you've got signatures for them in the book. And this is just good stuff anyway. Like, you should know this stuff, especially if you're going to be standing as a lookout on the bridge. You want to know what the type of bridge equipment the yacht has, the types of radar it has. Does it have a gyro compass? Maybe not. The vessel I work on doesn't. Page 22, Familiarization Training, muster stations and duties. Again, must be filled out for every single yacht. That should all be written up on the muster list. It should be clearly available to all crew members on the bridge, the ECR, the crew mess. At prominent positions around the yacht, you should find the muster list, and you should know what you need to do if you hear that fire alarm, if you hear that general alarm, if you hear that call, man overboard, 3 long blasts on the ship's whistle. Find out, throw it in your training record book. And then we move on to page 23, section 12, assignments and tasks introduction. This is the little intro before it runs into all of those tasks that you need to get signed off. There are 4 parts. The first part is the one that leads to the yacht rating certificate. So if you're on the interior, in the galley, in the engineering department, and you want that certificate, this is the part that you need to get signed off. You can have a look through all of these tasks. It's interesting just to look at before you've even got a job, gives you some sort of an idea of what you're going to be doing on board. And then once you've done part 1, if you're just getting the yacht rating certificate, you can send that away. For everybody else, you just carry on to part 2. Most of these tasks are kind of in some sort of an order. You're not going to complete many of the tasks in part 2 before having completed the tasks in part 1. You're certainly probably not going to get down to part 3 within your first few months on board. You just won't get that far in your training. But again, have a look through it, at least then you know what to expect. I'll draw your attention to the last part of part 2, which is actually only required for people on sail, training vessels and sailing vessels. So if you're on motor yachts, well, hey, you don't have to do any of that. So there you have it, the training record book. And this is one of the big things that you need to get checked off before you can go and get that Officer of the Watch 3000. You've got other courses that you need to do. You've got sea time that you need to get, and you've got this training record book. The best advice I can give, just start. Get it started now. You might not even have a job, it doesn't matter. Download it, print it, get it in a folder, get your details filled out, familiarize yourself with it, and then you're ready to go. Don't do what I did, which was start one, not fill out certain things, start another one, not fill out certain things, again, start another one, 3rd time lucky, finally learned my lesson, finally got it done. I don't advise you do that. I speak from experience here. Please just get it done. That's the message here. Get it done. Of course, if you've got any questions about it, just drop them down in the comment section below. Hope you found this useful. For other videos about how to progress on deck, please do check out the rest of the channel. Next week, I'm back on the yacht. It's been a lovely break. Thank you so much to all of you who wished me well on my leave. It's actually been really great just to take a step back, think about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and just refresh. So thank you for your wishes. As always, if you found some value in the video, a like would be fantastic. A sub would be amazing. And I very much look forward to seeing you next time.